Hi, this is Melanie at Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a review of the Tamil film Kanguva starring Suriya. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do trailer reactions and film reviews of Indian cinema. So the trailers and the teasers for Kanguva were incredible. It was like this crazy sort of tribal, ancient, we weren't sure what time period, look for Suriya's character. And then the latest trailer gave us hints to there being two time periods, modern day and ancient history. So I'm going to try to do this review without any major spoilers, which is going to be difficult, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm just going to say up front that I was frustrated with this film. It is a mixed bag. So there's things that I really liked, and there's things that were really annoying, and it's hard to explain all of them without getting into some of the spoilers, but I'm going to give it a go. Okay. So I have no fault with Suriya. The fault that I have is Siva wrote the screenplay and directed the film, and it's really in the writing and the editing choices. I like the overall concept. I think you can guess if there's an ancient history time and a modern time, that reincarnation is part of the story. That when you're talking about an Indian film, that's a pretty good guess. So I don't think I'm giving away a huge spoiler by revealing that. I did like that. I liked the sort of sci-fi aspects to the modern day. There's a child actor who was actually quite good in both the modern times and the ancient history, and it's sort of a 11 from Stranger Things, almost kind of a situation with this kid. That's all that I'm going to say. In modern day, it's mysterious. We don't know exactly what's been going on with this kid, but the kid is on the run and finds Suriya's character in the modern day. You've seen a little bit. Frosted tips. I think he was having a ball. It was a little ridiculous. His partner is Yogi Babu. And there's an ex-girlfriend, Disha Patani, not used very much, very little screen time, to be honest with you. Like, okay, we got one song. Right? It's really not a lot of women characters who have a lot of screen time in this movie. When we go to the ancient history, I'm going to give this little bit of a spoiler. It's supposed to be set in 1070, I assume AD, and there are Roman soldiers. Okay, the Roman Empire ended in about 460. Okay, granted, there was technically an emperor of the Roman Empire. That was Henry IV. Like, nobody was wearing those, like, horsehair helmets and gladiator kind of outfits in 1070. Like, give me a break. So that took me out of the film. Like, if you're setting something in ye olden times, why make it ridiculous like that? You took me out of the story by trying to insert Roman soldiers at a time when they didn't. Okay, so that was the first thing. Like, literally, I was Googling when, because I was like, and it was way earlier than I thought. I'm like, yeah, no. 1070? Yeah, no. And so that was the first thing. And the cinematography of the, before times, 1070, ye olden times, was really great. There's a lot of forest scenes. The problem is there's action scene after battle scene after action scene after battle scene without much emotional connection to anything. I couldn't even keep, there was like supposed to be 5 different tribes fighting each other. I couldn't even keep track of who was what because the costuming was basically all the same for everybody. So it was difficult to tell who was supposed to be with who. Suriya was awesome. Obviously, I enjoyed the action scenes that he was in. But the dialogues during the Ye Olden Times part were all just yelling. Literally, almost every single line of dialogue was somebody screaming a name. Kanguva! Like just yelling. I mean, for hours. We're talking hours of just yelling. Okay? And the main core thing, again, there's a relationship between Kanguva and this boy. I'm not exactly going to say what the relationship is. There's conflict in the relationship that should have been the heart of the movie, that should have been the emotional core. And yet, the climax portions were very effective and affecting to me, but didn't have the full impact that they could have had. And the only quiet moments, the only moments where we could have had moments of connection, is one song that's about their relationship. And that I loved the moments that they showed in that song, but it wasn't enough for me. Okay, so I just didn't feel that emotional connection to have a wallop with what happened at the end. I felt like the climax was really good. It goes back and forth between what's happening in modern day, what's happening in the past, the echoes of that. Okay, and then at the very end, we get a surprise cameo. Not going to reveal who it is, but I'm sure if you want to go look online, you'll see immediately who it is. And it's a setup for part 2. So we didn't learn all the answers, like I said, about who this little kid is in the modern day, what happened to him, whatever. We were left with a lot of questions and who was behind all of it. And then we get this cameo and we learn who that is, and that's going to be part 2. So that 10 minutes stole the show. Like, Bobby Deol is in this movie supposedly as the antagonist, as the villain. All he does is yell some lines. Like I said, climax scene, pretty good. But his character was so underwritten as a villain. I'm like, what is your motivation here? Really? Like, what is your deal? Like, he just didn't. And Bobby Deol can make a huge impact. And he just really didn't in this one. And that was also a disappointment. And I'm not necessarily, again, faulting him. He was given lines where he's just yelling, Kanguva! Okay? Like, that's about it. That's about all that he had. And so there's not a lot to build from there. Okay, I'm being really negative, but I did think the kid was great. I am interested in seeing what this modern day story, what's going to continue with it, right? Because they've set up some stuff. I will admit the CGI was just kind of average because they were doing some special effects, both in the Ye Olden Times and in the modern day. And some of it was kind of hokey looking. There's a pretty incredible fight with an alligator in the olden times. That was one of the big action sequences. I thought that one was particularly good. So, and the CGI wasn't bad for that. There was just some other places where I'm like, this, it didn't look that great. So the trailers and everything promised us this epic story, and I felt like they gave us a lot of action sequences. There's one particular action sequence where women kick some major ass. Anonymous women from a tribe. Like, no one that we had any connection to narratively that we knew anything about. It's just showing this tribe, they're all such badass warriors, even the women kick ass. Okay, that was fun to watch, but I had no connection to a single person that was on screen. So, yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed because I know Suriya is really going out of the box with this, doing something really different, and I admire taking chances. I just think he was let down by the script, and I hope if they are going through with part 2, that maybe part of what I am reacting to is that this is setup, and maybe the meat of the story and emotional quotient is going to come in part 2. Maybe they saved it for that. I don't know. But this should have been a complete story in itself, and I should have had some impact from it. And I really sat there being frustrated that I'm like, okay, it's another action sequence, another. All right, I feel like I'm being really mean. Suriya looked amazing. Oh, he was good. The one, I also thought the soundtrack was just like loud and pounding. And the song that I really liked is that, I don't know what the title is, but it's the Fire, song. And that one is particularly effective. I really like that. And like I said, I like the song sequence that is about Kanguva and the young boy, and it's kind of some quieter moments. But nothing besides the fire song, nothing is really standing out to me with this soundtrack. Okay. I managed to not give away too many huge plot points, but I think you can hear in my voice, I'm a big fan of Suriya, and I want the best for him, and I want him to have a successful film. I'm excited about who the cameo is and who is going to be with him in part 2. That is going to be exciting. I would go to see that just for that pairing. Okay, no matter what the plot was, that would just be fun on its own. But I'm hoping the writing will be better. I'm hoping the editing will be better. I was intrigued with like I said, the parallels to the past world. And I think they spent a lot on this world building. I don't even know if these islands that they were talking about are a real place or they just made it up. Like, you guys let me know in the comments what you think. But again, if you're going to set something back in historical times, don't put random Roman soldiers in 600 years after the Roman Empire is over. I'm just saying. All right. If you've had a chance to see this film, I would love to know what you thought about it. Did you just say, wow, this was awesome action. I loved every minute. Suriya was great. What are you talking about, Melanie? Or do you agree with anything that I said? I really want to know in the comments below. So please let me know what you think. And please do, I'm going on X less and less. So you can find me more on Blue Sky and Threads at Pardesi Reviews and also on Instagram. Please do hit the bell when you subscribe so you never miss another trailer reaction or film review.